Hello, everybody. Hi. Welcome to the newest book club live show for the Big Bad Booty Bitches book club. Today we're going to be talking about Role Playing by Cathy Yardley, and my lovely friend Noelle is here with us today. Noelle, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name's Noelle. I'm happy to be here. I used to work with Alea, and I have no qualifications to do this other than that I am literate.
Noelle is also just incredible and has wonderful, astute opinions on many a topic.
That is true.
So that is why Noelle has been invited to partake in the book club. So,
also, I do feel really honored that you picked me, a queer, to read a queer book with you.
I thought it would be fun, and I wanted to hear all of your juicy opinions, and so I'm really excited to talk with you about this book.
Cool.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah.
So, do you tell us what the book is about?
This book is about, I don't want to say older people finding love, but I think it was really refreshing to have a romance focused on people who are not 15. It is about two 40 to 50-something-year-old gamers who live in a small town, and much like living in a small town in real life, they run into each other like 4 different times before they actually meet, and how their relationship progresses against really unhealthy family dynamics.
I totally agree.
Okay.
So, now, what did you rate this book?
Honestly, I read this book when I was in a reading slump, and it was so refreshing and so nice. I would give it 4 out of 5 stars, which, unless you're Julia Fox, that's the highest I'm going to go. So that's like really good.
I love it. I give it a 4 too.
Mm-hmm.
I was fit the other day, and I was surprised by how much I liked it. I don't know what I was expecting. Like, I knew it was going to be about older characters, and I knew it had queer rep, and that's kind of all that I knew. But I thought it was really fun and refreshing as well. I liked that it was set in Washington, because all the places that they were talking about, I've been, or like I know family lives there or whatever. So it felt very like homey for me, which was kind of fun.
Same.
And I also liked the dynamics between our 2 main love interests. I thought the romance was really cute.
It was so cute. It was very classic, like sweetheart, grumpy combo.
Yes.
Very, very cute. And I loved that, like, Maggie, like, really, like, taught Aiden a lot about, like, setting boundaries and standing up for himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, in return was, like, taught her a lot about self-worth.
Yeah,
and I thought that's, like, I thought that was very cute.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was funny because this book ties in so well with, like, so many other conversations that we've had
literally
lately about men and dating and relationships and family dynamics and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so on point. I was finishing it and I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to scream with Noelle about this book. Like, it's going to be so fun. But yeah, I totally agree. Aiden was so fun to read about. He's such a, like, cinnamon roll teddy bear.
Such a sweetie pie.
I loved him. And I really like the way that Maggie is just super badass and, like, doesn't take shit from anybody.
Oh, no.
She's an icon.
Literally.
Love her.
I love her. I love, like, a strong, independent hermit woman.
As we would. Yeah, that feels very relatable.
I was, like, kind of giving her a side eye in the beginning of the book when she was going to the grocery store, and she's like, oh, I look like a natural disaster survivor. It's like, you're so dramatic. But as it went on, I was like, oh, this is about me. Okay.
You're so right, and you should say. I liked the fact that she, like, knew she was kind of being a hermit and that it probably wasn't good, but she's also comfortable being alone.
Literally.
And that was cool to see too, like the way that she's gotten more comfortable with herself and stuff since her divorce and all the hell that she went through with that. And now she's like, yeah, I live alone in this big house. I'm like, it's a lot, but I'm doing it and I'm a badass and
I'm not going to let Deb tell me that I need a man out here. Fucking Deb.
Oh my God. Okay. I think it's time that we get into the spoiler thoughts.
Okay, good, because I have so many of them. First and foremost, fuck Deb.
Oh my god. The fact that she invited herself and those people to Aiden's house when he broke his foot because she thought he was lonely. Like, don't invite people over to somebody else's house for a party. Like, what the fuck? You don't even know this man.
That was so out of pocket.
That was absurd. And like, I get it. It's like small town.
Mhm.
People sometimes have the like Southern hospitality vibes of like, we just come over with our casseroles and
Yeah.
help people or whatever. But like, that was so over the line of being acceptable. I was like, oh my god.
And like, yeah, and like I get it, Deb. I get that you like you need something from someone.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about boundaries. That's a theme that I think came up for me a lot during this book was, oh, let's talk about boundaries. How will we do it? Boundaries?
Yes.
Boundaries?
Yeah, and that was also super on par with stuff we've been talking about too.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the way that Maggie was super firm with Aiden about like, you need to set boundaries with these people. Like, this is hurting you so much and you don't need to put up with that.
Mm-hmm.
That was huge.
Loved that. Because sometimes it does like really take an outside perspective of like, oh, that behavior is not okay. You've just grown accustomed to it. That doesn't mean it's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I also liked the way that Aiden, by the end, was able to see that like he was surrounded by all these people who were supposed to love him and they were just treating him like shit. And he didn't have to stay and put up with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that he could be like, actually, I'm going to step back from this and do my own thing because that's what I need for me. Because my family is not supportive, kind, XYZ.
And I loved that moment.
It's huge.
It's like such a common theme with queer people to have that discussion with their family and to like set those boundaries and to not engage with that behavior or those people anymore.
Yeah.
And I loved seeing that perspective and that conversation had by somebody who's in his 50s.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily age out of that. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. I also liked all their discussions about Aiden kind of realizing that he's like demisexual and all these things. And Maggie being like, hey, there are like words for what you're feeling. And like, you might be this or you might be that. And like, I'm not an expert, but like,
here's what I know.
Yeah, like we can explore that and talk about it as like 50-year-olds in this small, like conservative town.
Yeah. And for her to just be so nonchalant about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge for a queer person to just not have to like try to manage somebody else's shock or disbelief.
Yeah. Or like he was with everybody else trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Because they told him basically like, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Don't talk about it. Especially when his mom was like, don't tell any of the women in the town that you slept with a man because otherwise none of them are going to want you.
Yeah.
Like, why would he want to be with somebody who doesn't respect him and know him for who he is? Like, what a concept for her to be like, you should just hide yourself because you need to be married.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
The like need to be married is like, I think, granted, I don't read that much romance or I haven't yet. But I feel like from what I know about it, that is like a common driving force in a lot of romance novels to get married. And I thought it was really cool the way that Cathy Yardley like flipped the script and was like, instead of like a young woman facing this pressure, we're going to make it a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Also loved that it's not just like young people who are pressured to get married, you know? It can also be people in their 50s from their elderly family members who are like, you have to be married. You have to be in this like heterosexual presenting relationship.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's going to be drama. People are going to talk. And it's like, who cares if people talk? Like,
yeah.
That's
I wish you weren't talking.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry that the ladies in your church group have opinions or whatever, but like
weird and homophobic.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna make your kid hide who they are because people in the town are gonna talk.
You care about your reputation more than your child's welfare
or like general happiness and well-being.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
0 out of 10.
Oh my god, she was, and I understand she's elderly, but like even when he was talking to her about how their dad came around at the end when he was like dying of cancer and they came to an understanding and his dad was okay with it, she was still like, well, your dad was on drugs when he was dying.
That piece gut-wrenching. Absolutely gut-wrenching.
That's fucking disgusting. Like, what is wrong with you?
And also the misogyny that his parents were perpetuating because he was a nurse instead of a doctor.
Oh my god. And like every little thing about his life, it was like if it wasn't hyper masculine, then it wasn't okay.
Yeah.
And the way that they just treated him like shit and favored his brother because his brother was married to a woman and like worked at a car dealership.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean that it also really hurts seeing somebody who's like genuinely a good person and such a cinnamon roll teddy bear individual who's so kind to everybody even when they treat him like shit just get absolutely like demolished by his family because he doesn't fit into the box that they want him to fit into.
Yeah.
That was like right in the chest.
Oh,
like he does not deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, can't you just see that your kid is a good human and like let him be happy? Oh my god. I was like, this woman right here. And Cheryl. Oh my god.
Cheryl, I wanted to like her because it is like icon country behavior just a little bit to marry your ex-boyfriend's brother.
That's true. But
like kind of like, but oh my fucking god. Her behavior.
She was so, and for me, it was kind of one of those things where like, I understand they dated in high school, like they lost their virginity to each other. It's huge, right?
I guess.
Well, I mean, it's like an intimate thing, and like I understand having that connection with somebody and whatever, but the way that she treated him was so not okay. And at the wedding, when there was that whole like outing him in front of his whole family, I wanted to vomit. Like my blood was boiling in my chest. Like I was like, Cheryl can fucking choke. Like. I hate her with the fire of 1,000 suns. Like, she's horrible.
She is horrible. And I thought it was interesting the amount of parallels between Cheryl and his mother.
So true.
Like, those two were really cut from the same cloth, the same conservative, small town vibes, homophobic as shit. Like, don't ask, don't tell.
Absolutely.
And then when she came forward and was like, I had a really rough stint in college, like I was doing drugs and stuff. How dare you think that, like, I don't know. It's a no for me, dog.
To call a man on Christmas and be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I was just, like, going through a lot of shit. And it's, like, not an excuse. Also, don't call me on Christmas. And, like, the only reason she even apologized was because Davy had, like, left her, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting. Like, Davy deserves better, quite frankly.
Davy does deserve better.
Like, I don't think he definitely should have stood up for his brother and definitely should have called Cheryl on her shit way earlier. And it should not have been Maggie, like, coming in and waking him up to that.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think he really realized fully what was going on.
Oh, no, because throughout the whole book, he is, like, so avoidant.
Oh, yeah.
Towards his brother's situation, towards his mother's failing health, towards the wackadoodle relationship that just is being married to your brother's ex-girlfriend, who he only broke up with because she was homophobic.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why you'd want to date a person when the reason that they broke up with your brother, or the reason that they're telling you, is because your brother's gay.
Yeah.
I think there should have been more of a discussion there, or like he should have asked Aiden, like, hey, what's your side of the story, right?
Yeah.
Before they were like married. And even like the whole thing with Aiden and Cheryl getting engaged again and like reconnecting after high school was so weird to me that she apparently, before they got engaged, never asked him if he had been with anybody else since they had been together. Like, she just assumed that he hadn't been and was like throwing that in his face. Like, just ask him if he's been with other partners. Like, that could be a chill conversation. But maybe have it before you get engaged and are pressuring him to marry you. Like, to be like, oh my god, you didn't tell me you were with a man. Like, bitch, did you ask? I don't think you did. Maybe that's on you.
Did I make this up? Did she tell him she experimented with women in college?
She literally said that.
I gotta, thanks so much for having me. I gotta go.
And like they talk about that too, like the hypocrisy of her, just her behavior in general is like ridiculous. And the way she threw that in Maggie's face at the wedding and was like, did you know he was gay? Ma'am. I would have been like, yeah, and what?
What about it?
Like, bitch, eat your cake. Like, I can't. I literally cannot.
Yeah.
She's awful.
0 out of 10 for Cheryl. Really, you know, she could have acted better, and I would have liked her more.
Yeah.
Because, like, listen, you know, sometimes you fall for a guy, sometimes he's gay. It happens to all of us.
Yeah, you know, we've all been there, right?
Yeah. You don't have to be a bitch about it.
You certainly don't. You certainly don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. And it was also really sad when Aiden went to their house and she was like shielding her daughters from him. And they so obviously wanted to like go hug their uncle and hang with him and stuff because he's a nice guy.
The family dynamics were so up.
Not okay.
And again, like, the parallels between Cheryl and their mom were huge. And like, it's never good when you prove Sigmund Freud right.
It's so true. And the way that his mom was trying to tie Deb into that too, when she was like, oh, Deb's like, you know, a good church-going gal. And she basically saying like, we're all cut from the same cloth. Why can't you just date somebody who's like that? And it's like, well, it didn't work with Cheryl. Why would it work with Deb?
Literally.
That's ridiculous. Like, no.
Yeah.
And Deb had her own shit, but like...
We'll get to Deb in a minute.
Deb was definitely pushy and definitely pissed me off.
Deb made me so viscerally mad and uncomfortable. Just like that's the consistent disrespect of the boundaries for me. And like the desperation.
Yes. It's like you can just say you're a horn dog. You don't need to text this man and be like, hey, do you need help like showering? I know you broke your foot. Like you literally don't even know this man. Like,
take a breath, Deb. Get some Xanax. Calm down.
I just really wanted Deb and Cheryl to get some therapy.
Literally. That's the toxic duo that we need.
Like, I understand you want to be social and whatever. Like, you're divorced, you're lonely, it's fine. But
yeah,
to be so pushy with some guy because you're basically just trying to get in his pants when you don't even know him.
Yeah.
And, like, being invasive about his personal space at his own house.
The amount of times Deb showed up to Aiden's house unannounced and uninvited. I love the scene where Maggie and Aiden meet for the first time in real life. Yes. And Deb comes over.
Yes.
And she's like, oh, what the fuck are you doing here? Because I don't like the way she talks to Maggie.
Oh, no.
I don't think it's ever explicitly said. But, like, a lot of the interactions Maggie had with her community felt a little racist.
Yeah. Also, it was almost like, okay, you're not cut from the same cloth as all these other women in the little church community and stuff. So you're an outsider and you're also, like, a romantic rival. Because Aiden likes you and is nice to you, especially when, oh my God, when Aiden and Maggie were leaving his house to go and fix her Wi-Fi router or whatever, and Deb like put her hand on his arm and was like, you don't have to be nice to her. Like, I know you're just trying to be nice. I was like, bitch, what is your problem?
That like
my blood.
Oh, that made me so mad.
So rude.
Like, and how, like, juvenile.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
that one stung. It was like, okay, you're just butthurt at Maggie because she's getting attention and you're not.
Yeah. Like, say you're lonely, go to therapy. There are so many other steps you could have taken.
Like, just go get coffee with a friend. Quit trying to show up to this man's house. Like, he does not want you here. But it was so fucking funny when Maggie, like, took that lasagna from her when she was at the door and was like, oh yeah, thanks, like Aiden and I are gonna watch a movie, okay, bye, and just ate that lasagna and like hung out with Aiden the whole night. Like,
that was great. I loved that. Also makes me really want lasagna.
I know, they were like, this lasagna is so good.
There are so many like good like kind of recipes in here.
Yes.
I don't cook, but this book made me want to start cooking.
That is so fun. That was super cute too when they would cook together and she was like helping him grocery shop, just like the mundane stuff.
Yeah.
That was so sweet and just like basic, you know, have you eaten kind of trying to take care of each other vibe was so fun.
I loved that. And I love how that's like a theme throughout the book. And I love in the beginning when Maggie goes over to Deb's for book club. I think one of the girls is like choking on the amount of spice that Maggie put in her food. Yes. I was like, that's a bad omen for the group. That is setting up the scene and the dynamics. Like, this woman can't handle her spice. That's a red flag.
All of those women in the book club, dude, and Patience, Deb's cousin or whatever. What a fire starter. What the
What
hell?
a messy bitch. I kind of love that for her, though.
Like, I mean, iconic that she's, like, single and ready to mingle, but, like, the way she just says things that are so rude to everyone about, like, them being divorced and, like, well, maybe something's wrong with you. And that attitude, oh my God. Oh my God.
But I did love how during that original book club scene, I forget which character it was, but Cathy Yardley described them as looking like they were watching a Real Housewives episode, just watching the volley back and forth. That's me in any social situation.
That is so true. Oh my God. And okay, can we also talk about the fact that like what you were saying earlier when Maggie was in the grocery store and she says that she kind of like dresses like a hag on purpose or whatever, and then she shows up to the wedding looking hot as fuck, and that Riley guy flips his shit, and she's just like, well, you know what? If you can't handle me in sweatpants, you don't deserve me in stilettos. What an iconic quote. Hello? She was right, and she should have said it.
I love that for her. And it's like so true. You and I have literally talked about that, like dressing in baggy clothes, kind of frumpy, like hiding what we look like, just to like exist in the world peacefully.
Yes.
That was a very relatable moment.
Especially when she's like, you know, I'm a single woman, I'm divorced, I live by myself up on this mountain, you know. Yeah. Even just having Aiden like show up at random times like he does and like pull into her driveway. She like grabbed the baseball bat that one time. Like she's got her armor up, and rightfully so. But it was cool the way that she would use like clothing and the way she looked almost as like a physical armor too. Yeah. You know? And she's like, I can look hot as fuck, but like,
why would I want to do that all the time?
Yeah. She's like, on my terms.
Literally. On my terms. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And also, oh my God, all this stuff that kind of subtly came up about the way that her ex-husband used to treat her.
And like Trevor, 0 out of 10.
Oh my God. And the way that he would like body shame her for like having stretch marks and stuff after she had a baby and like try to make her dress a certain way and whatever. Yeah. In the way that that influences her like physical relationship with Aiden. And she's like, can we close the curtains or like shut the light off? And he's like, I don't care. Like, you know, I want to see you how you are. Like, I'm not going to judge you. Or anything.
It's almost like he doesn't objectify her.
It's almost like he's just down to clown. And is like happy and feels lucky to even be blessed with such a gift as to get to like be romantically involved with her. Yeah. I thought a concept.
But we all deserve, it's what we rarely get.
It's so true. It's so true. And oh my God, I was so pissed when her ex-husband showed up at the house. Like, love her son. He sounds like a great kid or whatever. But like, why did you ever think it was okay to bring your dad into her house?
Yeah, like that.
What the fuck was that about? No.
That is some poor teenage judgment right there. Because like, okay, yeah, your parents are divorced. You want, in this situation, you're like, well, let me be happy. And just because you have an okay relationship with your dad now does not mean that your mother does.
No, and oh my God, when Maggie and her ex were talking, and he was like, oh yeah, I got my girlfriend pregnant, and she's 20 years younger than me. I said, oh. And now we're having this shotgun wedding, and all of a sudden I want my son to be involved and be the best man at my wedding. I'd be so proud if he was in my wedding. Like, bitch, you haven't talked to your kid in 5 years. Like,
when he said he turned out better than I expected,
oh my God. The part that got me is that he didn't even think about reaching out to Kit until he saw the sonogram and like his new girl was pregnant, and then it was almost like, oh, let me just reach out to my other kid that I hadn't even considered until I realized I was about to have a second one. Yeah. And like, why would, like, you didn't want the person in the first place. What are you doing?
Well, he wanted one. He just wanted a hyper-masculine idea of a son, not the reality of it.
True. And then when Maggie was talking about how he was mad that the son looked more like her.
That was racist as fuck.
Like, had her dark eyes and stuff.
I hated that. Hated that.
Like, what did you think your kid was going to look like? Like, your wife is part Asian. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, why is it a problem if your child looks like the person that you are married to.
Yeah.
He was giving me some disgusting vibes.
Absolute rancid vibes.
Just like his whole like mountain man, like
Hyper masculine,
like tall, skinny beard, like with the suntan skin. Like, I just run around getting people pregnant and like don't ever talk to my kids. I'm like, you're so fucking vile. I wish you would die on the spot. Like, I cannot handle you. No.
What an absolute nightmare of a man. I know. If I met that man in real life, I think
I have met that man in real life.
But like, he's like totally like a vaccines cause autism, like kind of man.
He's like the kind of man where you have a disgusting conversation with him by accident and then you feel like you need to go home and shower.
Yeah.
And when Aiden slept over and was talking about the lump in the middle of the bed from the indentation of like her ex-husband and like this space between them, and he was like, maybe we should get a new mattress. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot about that.
That's not something I ever would have even thought about.
Oh my god, same. But like, yeah, after a marriage like that, like, makes sense.
Yeah. I can't believe he got his new girlfriend pregnant. That was a lot.
My god. And what killed me, what made me so mad, because like obviously he's a scumbag, right? But when he says, for what it's worth, I'm sorry that I wasn't a better husband to you. It's not all your fault that we couldn't make it work.
Like, that's the closest he's ever gotten to apologizing for anything ever.
And it's like, sir, you were literally emotionally abusive.
And then he just left her on a mountain in a place where she had no family, no support system with this young boy, and just dipped to a different state because he didn't like that his wife had so much influence over his kid and was like trying to raise him.
That his kid can talk about his feelings and get vaccines.
Like, what are we doing?
Literally.
Even when he was like, yeah, my new girlfriend's like making me realize that I like wasn't very good right there. Like, you just know he's about to have a daughter, right? Like, he's gonna treat her like shit with the way that he has emotionally abused Maggie and made fun of her body and her stretch marks and all that shit. Like, this baby girl is already like,
oh yeah, she's
already fucked, dude. I felt so bad for that child and like his new woman. Like,
and I can't imagine that the dynamics between him and his new soon-to-be wife are going to be good with that 20-year age gap and a baby along the way.
No, well, Maggie like talks about that too. How like he wasn't supportive of her when he was 20 years younger. Like, he's not going to be better now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
0 out of 10 for Trevor.
Also, just like 50-year-old man tantrums. Like, more conversations Noelle and I have had before, but like that's what he was giving. He was giving, I'm 50 and I still throw baby man tantrums.
Yeah. I ate lead paint as a child, and you can tell.
Also, I'm 50 years old and still have no pull-out game. Like,
I'm 50 years old and I still don't know how to use a condom.
Also, it was so funny to me. It was like, you have a son who's 18. Like, he's the one who should be like accidentally getting people pregnant, not you. You're 50. Like, what are we talking about here? Imagine being that 18-year-old kid and like your dad calls you, who you don't even fucking talk to.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, so like, I want you to be the best man in this shotgun wedding because I accidentally got some girl pregnant. Like, would you be like, sir, you're 50 years old. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't.
And honestly, like, I'm not good at math, but like, she is almost closer to his son's age than his age.
That's also super true.
Yikers.
Everything about that was scary and disgusting.
Yeah.
And I understand Kit being like, I want to have a relationship with my dad, but it's also like, why? Like, he never ever treated you well, was never there for you or your mom. Like, don't bring him into the house. Like, what? And don't tell your mom that you are like having issues being social at school and not tell her the truth about how you're just talking to your dad and XYZ. Like,
yeah, that didn't sit right with me.
Neither. I did not like it. That was super awkward too when Aiden's just like making pancakes and he's like, well, this is weird as fuck. You want the pancakes?
Like cinnamon roll behavior.
Yeah. He immediately he's just rolling with it.
Yeah.
He's just like, this is just the weekend we've had of people being shitty. So I guess, of course, her ex-husband's gonna just show up.
And I love. I just love that parallel of like Maggie supporting Aiden through all of his family bullshit, and now he has, because she's so guarded throughout all of this, and now he has the opportunity to support her.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Yeah. Oh my god. And also, just I thought it was so weird that so many people were just like up Maggie's ass basically about dating again.
And
like,
Aiden's too. Like,
yeah, it's like, why is that your business? Even when her ex-husband comes over and he's just like, oh, who is that? Like, oh, I'm surprised you didn't start dating sooner. Like, why is it anybody else's business what these grown-ass adults do or don't do with their romantic relationships or love lives or whatever?
Yeah. And like,
dude,
I understand this is the irony of saying this about a romance novel, but like, I love that their focus was not on the relationship for most of the book. Thought that was a serve. Because like, Aiden had like, what, 2 relationships total?
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie was pretty much just married to Trevor. Mm-hmm. So that's 1. And like, they have such like rich and fulfilling lives and careers outside of their romantic relationships. Love that.
Yeah.
Because there is like, yeah, that weird conservative societal pressure to be like married, dating, kids, whatever. Like, that's the pinnacle of achievement.
Makes me sick a little bit, but yes, you're so right, and you should say it. But I really liked the way that their relationship was like happening, but also all these other things were also happening.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, your relationship doesn't happen in a bubble, you know, like it's affected by, okay, the parents and the ex-husband and the kids and all of that stuff. That was so interesting.
And your frenemies.
And these random ass fucking people in this town who just show up at your house with a casserole dish, like that energy. Dude.
I love Deb sucks, but I love her as a villain.
She is good. She is good as a villain. She, you know, she kind of reminded me of the ladies from Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
There were some parallels there where I was like, this is the same energy of this small town,
like
women,
hospitality, whether you like it or not.
Where it's totally over the line.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah. I do like respect a hostess, like, because that is like a dying art form in my opinion. But I love that at Deb's football party they like just miss each other.
Yes.
But Aiden immediately eyes the cookies that Maggie made, not knowing who made them, and is like, those look fantastic, can't wait to try that.
That's super true.
I was like, oh my god, these little nerds are like magnets.
It's so cute. And I really liked all of the stuff when they first started talking while they were playing video games.
And I thought there was the age difference.
Yes, that was so funny. And when they're going through all these like games with the guild and stuff, and he's like privately messaging her to make sure she's like feeling okay and like comfortable and isn't being like run out by these young guys who were playing with them. It was super cute. And I love when they call each other Boggy and Otter. I was like, oh my god. It was so cute. I didn't think I was going to be as into that as I was.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
It was so fun. I love the little gaming scenes, like, because it is so cute. And I think it's the mistaken identity aspect is so cute.
It was so funny, too, the first time she went over to his house and just, like, grabs the skillet like she's entangled. And she's like, who the fuck are you?
Literally. Like, and I love how unfazed he is by it. He's like, oh, yep. Checks out. Makes sense.
Yeah. I loved how he was just trying to make her comfortable.
Yeah.
You know? Because he knew how guarded she was. And rightfully so. But he was just really, you know, gentle with her about not pushing her boundaries or, like, making her uncomfortable. And same with her. Like, she was like, I know Aiden is, like, demisexual and stuff. Like, I don't want to make him uncomfortable. Like, the whole thing with the wedding and all that. But also, that whole scene at the wedding when she went off on Cheryl and was basically like, hold my hoops because I'm about to beat this bitch's ass. That was so funny. I was dying. I was like, yes, Maggie's going to jail, but she's going to take Cheryl out first, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that scene. And I love everybody's reactions to that as if she was the problem. She was not the problem.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like, that's the only That's like the only acceptable response to that kind of homophobia. Like,
Oh yeah. And I loved that Aiden consistently told Maggie that she's the only person who is like in his corner, who ever stood up for him or like treated him the way that he needed to be treated. It was like cool with his sexuality and like discussing it openly and wasn't trying to hide it or keep him in the closet or anything. That was so cute.
It was so cute.
He was like, nobody ever goes to bat for me the way you do. And that's huge. This man. Oh my god.
It was so, I loved it. This was so cute. This is like one of the first romance novels that I've ever like really read. And like, what a way to start. Like,
I know. I was so glad that it was good because I like to go in blind a lot with the book club books. And so I always get nervous that they're going to be really awful. And it's going to be my fault that I forced everybody to read some awful book. But I was so pleasantly surprised with this. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was. It took me a second to like get started into it. But like, because I was like, oh, she's dramatic. This is going to be like what I expect it to be. Like, I'm not like other girls kind of thing. But it was not that at all. Yeah,
I felt the same way. I started it and I was like, where are they going with this? Like, as soon as it was like her and Deb in the grocery store, I was like, what is happening here? And then once they got into like the gaming stuff, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. This is kind of a vibe.
It is such a vibe.
It was fun. Also, Riley as a character and the way he's so misogynistic.
So misogynistic, but I did kind of like him.
He's got that energy of like, I just want to watch the drama and eat my popcorn in the corner, and I appreciate that. But the way he was just like, there's some line in here about how he like went through women like he was eating potato chips.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a lot.
That is a lot. And like the way he was like, when Aiden was like, do you have any women friends? And he was like, I'm on okay terms with my ex-wife and my daughter's my friend. I was like,
I totally agree. And when he was trying to get Aiden to like hook up with people, and Aiden is like,
no, thank you.
Hard stop. Like, no. And Riley's just like pushing the whole time. And the way that he treats Maggie and like talks shit about how she dresses and looks and whatever, and then she shows up to the wedding looking hot as fuck, and he's just like,
completely,
hi, sweetheart.
Completely
like,
changes his tune.
Oh, absolutely. And he's just like asking Aiden if they're dating.
Oh my god, because at first he doesn't recognize her.
Yeah.
Which like I kind of love that. Like the transformation skill, iconic.
That's true.
But like, ooh, yucky.
It was yucky. God. That whole wedding thing, I felt so bad for Aiden. That was such an awful experience.
The wedding part was so uncomfortable. Because his mom, too, is like, until Maggie shows up, is like, haha, I win.
Yeah.
About it, which is just mean.
Dude, even then, like, after when he drives her home after the wedding, and she just disowns him in the car, and he's like, we had a deal. And, like, I brought a date. And she's just like, I don't care. Like, I don't ever want to talk to you again. Like, you're not a part of this family anymore.
Yeah.
For real.
For real.
That, honestly, that reminded me of, like, my grandpa and stuff when he was, like, going downhill. And, like, the stubbornness of, like, no, I'm going to drive and I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And that whole thing with, like, the aging parents. And especially with Aiden having experience as a nurse and like working in hospice, like he knows what he's doing.
I was like, ma'am, you're trying to argue with an expert here.
Yeah, like he literally owns a hospice business. Like he fucking knows. And I understand like she doesn't want to lose her autonomy and whatever, but
yeah, it must be very scary, but like
yeah, but it was just the way that she was so disrespectful to him and the way he broke his foot, like trying to help her like rebuild that shelf because she wouldn't listen to him about how he like didn't know what he was doing.
And she was like, you're a man, so you must know what you're doing.
And it was just like, dude.
And then she was like, give me your keys, I'll drive you. And he still had to be like, no, you cannot do that, ma'am.
As he's laying there with a broken foot, like screaming on the floor, like, hello? And the fact that she still expected him to do everything for her, even after he broke his foot because of her, was insane.
Hated that.
She was so rude to him. It was so sad.
It was really sad. It was like so sad.
Yeah. But I'm glad that they decided to be together and like do their own thing away from all these toxic ass people.
Oh my god, I know. That was like, it had such a great ending.
It did.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Like they absolutely deserve to be. And they were like, we lived before, we liked it, but different things brought us back to this town that we don't like, but we're kind of stuck here now, and it's a weird vibe. We don't like these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that Maggie finally moved back. And the whole thing with her husband not liking ethnic food. What do you mean? Like, I'm a white girl and I could eat Chinese food and Thai food and Mexican food till I die. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, just say you're weak.
What do you eat? Hot dogs?
Listen, I'm a huge defender of a corn dog, but you gotta mix it up.
But, like, what do you mean you don't like ethnic food?
Racist card? Like, let's just give me the egg.
Also, I don't think I've ever thought of, like, all those different kinds of foods as being, like, ethnic food.
Yeah.
That's not something I've ever thought of. It's like, oh, like, Chinese food is so good and whatever, but, like,
it's because you don't watch Fox News.
Like, like, I've never bun things in my brain like that to be like, oh, this is ethnic.
Yeah, like,
I'm like, give me the carne asada. Like, what do you mean?
0 out of 10. And I hated that. And I hated how he was so dismissive of like Maggie's interest in food.
Yeah, like she's such a foodie and she loves cooking. And why shouldn't she cook stuff that she enjoys?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
And I thought it's crazy. I think that's an interesting point that he was like, I don't like the ethnic food. I don't like the spicy food. Especially because in the beginning of the book, we like are introduced to her like enemies because they're like choking on her spice.
That's super true too. And it's like you don't need to make a big deal about it. Like if you don't like something, that's okay. But you don't need to like make a whole ass scene because you're like, oh my god, this is ethnic food and it's spicy. Like it's food. If you don't like the food, eat a different food. Like you're standing in a room full of food.
You're at a potluck.
Yeah, like I don't know what we're talking about. Like eat a cookie and calm down, bitch. Drink some milk. Like what? It's really not that serious. Like it's just.
Yeah. Trevor was a real stinker, but I did love them going back to the West Side together and him buying back into his business.
Yes. That was super cute.
And I love that they were closer to Kit.
Yeah.
Like, that just felt really cute, especially as Kit was finding his footing at college.
Mm-hmm. It was super cute to see their Christmas together, too.
Oh, yeah.
With their little family, basically. Oh, it was tender.
It was tender.
It was really tender. Okay, also, I do want to talk about one other thing, though. Like, the spicy scenes. Here's my thought. This is like one qualm that I have. Like, there was such good build up to the spicy scenes, and they were so like communicative with each other, and I like that. But I was like, I don't know. This is coming from somebody who reads a lot of like spicy shit on Kindle Unlimited. Like,
I follow you on Goodreads,
like monster romance or whatever. Like, I'm getting more into that, but it was a little too like I just wanted the spicy details a little bit more, I guess, which is
it was very like PG-13.
Yes.
Which I kind of liked because I'm not. You and I are coming at this from very different directions.
That's super true. That's super true.
And I like because like a lot of the book I think is like challenging the ideas of sex and romance and those expectations, especially when you are in your like late 40s, early 50s. And for them to like, what did they say? Like junior high?
Yeah.
I thought that was like, I was okay with that choice.
Well, and it kind of makes sense because like they're both really open about the fact that they haven't done anything physical for like many, many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cute actually to see them be like, yeah, I haven't done anything for like 10 years. So like blind leading the blind here. That was really funny.
That was really cute. I really liked that part.
That was super cute.
And I like that they were just open and non-judgmental.
Yeah.
And I like that they didn't like rush themselves in any way, shape, or form or like do something because they felt like they were supposed to. They're both too old for that bullshit.
Yeah. And I like that. And I like the way that he repeatedly told her, like, we don't have to do anything if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no pressure.
And because he came out to her as Debbie, she was like really mirroring that energy of
Yeah.
like, we don't have to.
Yeah. They were really cute, though.
They're so cute.
I liked it.
And I feel like the first spicy scene, very PG-13.
Yeah.
But like enough to where I was like blushing a little. And then the second one I think was a nice build off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like too graphic or anything, which for me I thought was great.
I wanted more just because I'm really nosy. And I'm like, closed door like makes me like personally upset. Because I'm like, I just want to know all the details.
Yeah.
Which is probably like a little bit like, do I need to be in the details of like these late 40, early 50-year-olds like having sex after 10 years? Like, I probably don't need to, but I just am nosy. But it was still really cute.
It was really cute.
And I love when he called down to the front desk at the hotel to ask about the condoms after he said he wasn't going to. And she was like, I can't believe you just did that.
I love that little like test of bravery.
It was so cute.
It was really, really cute. I forgot about that. Oh my god, man. They just didn't even use him at the hotel.
I know, I love it. I also liked when he was like, yeah, well, even if we call down for the condoms, like, it's going to be a second. I'm not 20 anymore. Like, something about that was so funny to me.
The
Like,
healthy boundaries.
the honesty. Like,
the honesty.
I love it. Like, you don't have to be 20 and it can still be,
Yeah.
like, fun and spicy and, like, just fun.
Yeah. Like, no pressure. No expectations. And I loved her little, like, having to deal with her walk of shame.
Yeah.
At, like, 40, whatever. She's a girl of the people.
Yes. And even later on when Kit comes over and he and Aiden are like doing dishes and Kit's just like, if you hurt my mom, like, I'm gonna fuck you up.
To this like 6'1" guy.
Yeah, this 50-year-old man who used to be on the football team. Like, she was cute.
It was so cute. I love the relationship between Kit and his mom. Like,
yes.
I thought it was very cute. I love it when like parents and children see each other as human beings.
Yeah. I just like the way that they could openly talk about stuff.
Yeah.
And I understand why he, you know, didn't want to like upset her or whatever, but it was just cute to see them interact and be supportive of each other, and the way he wanted her to be social so bad and like be okay, and he worried about her. And
Yeah, and that he like withheld his own social success so she would keep doing
what she was doing.
Yeah. Also, I love that he like low-key led a revolution against his skeezy RA.
That was really funny.
Because like I've like had a skeezy RA before, if that's the only appropriate action.
RAs as a concept are just weird to me. Yeah, they are. I don't like it. I had a weird RA too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, story time. In college, one of my RAs was a guy, and he was just really socially awkward and like made me uncomfortable. And I was like carrying my laundry basket down to like wash my underwear one day, and he was like all up in my business about what I was doing, and I was like,
what does it look like I'm doing?
I'm like going to wash my underwear. Did you need anything? And he was like, oh, and he left. And I was like, yeah, fuck off. Like, we got to the point where we would say things on purpose to make him uncomfortable, so he would leave us alone.
Yeah. And like I get that they had like a set amount of interactions they have to have, but like
it wasn't that. It was like in the hallway he would stop you and like drill you about where you were going and what you were doing. Like he was your dad. Like, I'm like, my dad cares less about that shit than you do. And my dad is amazing. Like, he just wasn't up in my business.
Yeah, I feel like
Bruh.
I know some people who are RAs who are genuinely like really cool people. And who are doing it mainly for the free housing.
Fair.
But some people want to be an RA for the power and control. And
it's weird.
And it's weird, and it gives you weird access to like a really vulnerable population of like usually first-time college freshmen who are away from home for the first time, who don't have a strong support network, etc.
For sure.
And it's like, yeah, they should screen those people better.
They should. They really should. It's creepy. It's weird. As an adult, it's even weirder, I think. Back then, it was like, I guess.
Like, I was told this is normal, so I guess it's normal. Yeah. And, like, if they're good at their job, like, I, like, had one really great RA in college who was like, yeah, I'm here for the free housing, but also, like, I'm here as a resource if you need me, if you want to talk about something. Like, I've done this before. Let me know if you need help.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
All the ones I had were weird.
Yeah. I think for me, the boundary is like, do you want to get involved in or how involved do you want to get in your like residents' personal lives? Ideal answer is 0.
Yeah, the ones I had were like too nosy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm just private, so I was like, no.
Yeah.
But I understand the way that Kit was like, this guy's doing things and it's not okay. And it was also weird when he said that like on his floor there was girls and guys. Sir, where do you live? Like, that's never...
Oh, that was normal for my college experience.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had like a suite of women, and then across the hall it was boys, and then it like alternated.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, the ones I've always heard of, it was like they alternated floors.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they tried to keep like the girls and the guys separate.
I guess it depends on like what the bathroom situation is.
True.
Because 4 girls were sharing a bathroom. And then 4 boys were sharing a bathroom, and so on throughout the building.
Okay, I think a lot of the ones that I've seen, it was like each floor was like either a girl's bathroom or a guy's bathroom, which was really annoying if you were going to see your guy friend because you had to go to a different floor to pee and then come back, which was a pain for me because I get lost easy. And then girls would be like, "Who are you?" Some random bitch who had to pee. Sorry.
I'll be leaving now. Goodbye.
Yeah. So yeah. That was interesting, but I love how he was just like, yeah, I kind of started a revolt.
Yeah, like, no big deal. Don't worry about it.
And she's just like, oh my God, my kid turned out good. Which was cute. But it was so weird how her ex was so just weird about their kid turning out a specific way.
Yeah.
XYZ. Like, me.
Like, I like interacted with like men like that who have very specific ideas of how their children should turn out. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Like, granted, I've made like a couple lead paint jokes. You've like read that like a lot of boomers have like lead paint syndrome, right?
I believe it.
Because like they ate the lead paint because that was like a big thing. And then it like led to like long-term cognitive deficits. Specifically just like getting irrationally angry and like throwing tantrums.
Checks out.
Yeah. What was I talking about before the lead paint?
I don't even know.
Oh God.
Boomers and RAs and
yeah, just
you know,
oh yeah, like why would you like have a I'm not a parent and I've never eaten lead paint, so I don't really know what it's like to be a boomer parent. But like having a kid is like a crapshoot. You can like try to mold them to have specific ideas and values, whatever. And that's like the point, to raise a good person. But like you have to be like really aware of like your own biases, like the things you cannot control, like
even just like the gene pool. Like you never know what's gonna happen.
You're just throwing seeds out into the dark and hoping something grows.
You're just
like,
pissing into the wind, hoping it doesn't get weird. Like for real. I gotta go. It's true. It really is. Like you just never know what you're gonna get or what's gonna happen.
Totally. And like part of being a good parent is being adaptable to that.
That's super true. I agree. As people who don't have kids, I super agree with that.
I think it's really easy. I like how the viewers went from 0 to 2. They hated my lead paint comment.
That's hilarious. Well, I liked it, so
yeah, that's
whatever.
what matters.
Yeah, you know, it's my channel. If I like the lead paint jokes, then they're allowed. You know, that's just how it is.
In this channel, we support making fun of people who ate lead paint.
It's true. I'm so sorry.
Amazing.
Oh, you're a nut. Well, what else have you been reading lately?
I read a semi-autobiographical fiction. I don't know, it's like based on this guy's like life events, but it's like adapted to fiction, whatever. Had to stop reading that. Didn't like the way he talked about his penis.
Honestly, sometimes men writing sex scenes,
it wasn't even the
so
sex
weird.
scene either. It was like his inability to become erect for a sex scene. And you know, I hated it. I just hated it. So I'm pivoting. I have some holds at the library that I need to pick up because new year, new books.
Love it.
I've got a book on Madame Blavatsky, who is like this spiritualist in the way back when,
Cool.
who influenced like a lot of art movements. I have some horror books that I'm really excited to read.
Cool.
I really want to get more into unhinged girly pop fiction.
Okay.
Like Bunny was a big hit for me in
Okay.
2023. I loved that book. The Joan Didion I read, Slouching Towards Bethlehem, that series of essays was so good, but I also just love Joan Didion. And I want to read more about philosophy and Buddhism specifically. Because, like, I don't know, once I get a college degree, I might shave my head and become a monk. We'll find out.
Is 2025 going to be your monk era?
2026.
Okay. Okay, you got a minute.
Yeah.
I love it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been reading?
I just started a graphic novel.
Ooh.
A little witchy graphic novel.
Mm-hmm.
It's very cute. It's about all these little witches in this little town, and this little witch moves into a house, and it's like really fucking haunted, and there's ghosts everywhere, and she's trying to figure out how to get the ghosts out of her house. It's very wholesome.
That's so cute.
And I like it. The art's really cute too. So I'm loving that.
Mm-hmm.
I just bought this crazy reading spreadsheet because there's this other YouTuber who's way better in Excel than I will ever be, and she made like the ultimate reading spreadsheet for 2024, and it was like $5 on Etsy, so I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And it has everything, like habit trackers, like tracking what days you read and like how many books you read a month, how many pages, like if it's ebooks or audiobooks or whatever, like all that kind of stuff. So then at the end of the year, you can see like all of your specific stats, like how many books you read in each genre and all that kind of stuff. And it's customizable, so I can go in and like change the genres and stuff if I want based on like what I like. And so I'm doing that. And so I'm very excited to see what it all comes out to look like. But
yeah, that's very cool. I had a thought the other night. You know, I grew up really religious. I had a thought because I was like really disappointed that like the first book I picked up this year like is gonna be a DNF. It's already in a free little library.
As it should be. That person's in for a shock, though. I'll say that.
I was like, maybe I should just read the Bible. Like, I've been a little nostalgic for my childhood. I started reciting the books of the Old Testament just to see how far I could get. Not as far as I used to be able to. I used to be able to rattle all of that off.
Well, it was fresh in your mind then. It's been a minute.
It's been a long time. Do you want to hear me do it? Because I can go Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, and then it's like the middle section, and then it has all the weird names at the end of the book, like Habakkuk, Zephaniah, like all the weird stuff. I don't know.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
Maybe.
So you're going to be a monk, but you're also going to read the Bible, but you're also going to read some unhinged girly fiction.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, that is my brand.
I love it. I don't know what I'm going for this year. Last year ended up being like my romance era by accident. Yeah. And somehow I ended up reading like tentacle smut and all kinds of shit I didn't even know existed. And I'm kind of just down for the journey.
I love the journey for you because when you were telling me about the tentacle smut, your eyes lit up in a way I haven't seen before.
I don't know what that says about me. Is that good?
Let us know in the comments.
No, yeah. Ooh, yikes. But I did get Kindle Unlimited, so like I have access to all of these like smutty ebooks and stuff. And I'm like genuinely so thrilled about that for me.
I love that for you.
Like I just kind of want to read, I guess at the end of last year I kind of realized my main things are like smut, horror, and then like really wholesome middle grade fantasy. Like what is that? I'm like I want to have my
Sun, Moon, and Rising right there.
It's like I want to have my inner child, but I also want to read like I don't even know, tentacle smut, like gargoyle smut. I actually like it. It's fun. He's got wings. I don't know. It's fun.
Ooh.
What's not to like, you know?
Yeah.
And then I also want to read some weird horror books.
I really love horror books. This Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno I read.
Ooh.
I think in 2022, actually. Maybe it was this year. I don't know. Time isn't real. But that was one that I couldn't put down, but I also desperately needed to put down because it made me I couldn't sleep.
Dude, I know.
Yeah.
I feel that. Horror, I have to be careful with it. Like, that's why I like the romance, because it balances it out.
Oh, totally.
You know, so I don't read creepy, weird shit all the time and you know.
Go a little insane.
Yeah, start tweaking out because I'm scared, you know. I'm not like, oh my god, Peyton, don't leave the house, it's dark and I'm nervous, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I also can't read smut all the time because then I'm in a different level. It's like I can't be her all the time. That's not good for me. You know. So
yes,
you got to have a little balance.
Totally, it is so important to have that balance.
But I do like fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was a kid, I read a ton of fantasy novels. That was my thing. And I do miss that a little bit because I don't read as much fantasy as I used to.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I also just like to pick up random stuff and just see where it goes.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I wish I liked fantasy more than I do. Because oftentimes I just do not process the names of anything.
Yeah.
There are too many letters. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound it out.
I know.
That long name in my brain.
Yeah.
And then I'm not comprehending what I'm reading.
That is fair. And I feel like it's different when you also have a full-time job. Because sometimes you're I do not have enough brain cells firing to comprehend this world building right now.
Literally.
Which is why I like romance. Because I can read it after work when I'm this, you know? And I can still comprehend it.
Yeah.
Versus some of these other things, it's I need to be on my game.
Yeah.
And we don't always have high level functioning Alea present all the time, you know?
No, yeah. Because you have other commitments.
Yeah.
And that's why I like reading memoirs so much, because it is just somebody sitting down and telling me about their life, which I love that. Julia Fox's memoir. 5 stars.
I've heard so many good things about that
recently.
It's
so good. I'll let you borrow my copy when my friend is done with it. And then
yeah.
I need to figure out where you are in the order of this, because I have told so many people that they can borrow that book.
That's hilarious.
I'm probably going to give it to you first because I know you're going to tear through it. I read that in 2 days.
Dang.
It was so good. She has survived so much. And The Cut published an article that I think summarized how I feel about it really well. Because she's survived a relationship, domestic and sexual abuse, right? And in this article, The Cut talks about how there's often 2 kinds of survivors. The good survivor who is put together, quiet, doesn't really let her past affect her. And then the bad girl survivor who's just a reckless party animal. And Julia Fox chooses neither option and is just completely herself.
I like that.
I like that too. And I think it's so cool to see such a pop culture icon be so honest about what she's been through and how she's moved on from it.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Yeah, it is.
I gotta get to that this year. I can't wait to see what books I end up reading, to be honest. Because that is one thing. I feel so much more comfortable in the middle of the year when I've already read so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this giant blank spreadsheet when I hadn't, before I finished this book and started reading some other books. I just hate when I have to start from zero.
Yeah.
At a new year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. It's something about that gives me the shakes. I'm
it's daunting.
It's what if I fuck it up? How? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's your own reading. But
I don't know. For me, I'm very influenced by what I'm reading at the time.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm what if I make a bad choice?
Yeah, and when it's the start of a new year, you're oh my god, I don't want it to be bad. So
yeah,
I think I'm trying to start off easy with things that I feel I'm gonna like, because I don't want to be risky yet.
That's so fair.
So
yeah,
I started off the year. I think book 2 or 3 that I read at the beginning of last year was the tentacle porn. I just, you know what I mean? That was. I think we're going into the deep end, or no, the shallow end. Last year was the deep end.
Wading in.
Yeah,
I last year. The first book I read was this incredible account of this journalist like hiking through the mountains of China and like talking with monks and hermits.
So cool.
It was so cool. And it had like these incredible photographs. And that's how I started my year. And I'm not living up to that this year. It's a different vibe.
Every year is a different vibe.
It is a different vibe.
I don't know how I'm feeling about 2024 yet. What are you feeling?
I feel like I've got great momentum, that I've like really gotten my shit together when it comes to like my habits and daily life, my boundaries. Like so last year I got the Caroline Calloway Tarot card. She's like, I'll pick a tarot card for you and that'll be your year. And I got the Lovers. And she was like, in the little description, she was like, you know, this card just means you have a choice between one thing or another. And I was like, oh, well, I choose myself. And so my theme for the year was just like really pouring into myself, like setting good boundaries, doing good habits. Like I moved here officially. I got all my shit from my storage unit. I like tied up loose ends. And now I just feel like I'm on this awesome springboard of doing whatever I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how I feel about making decisions.
So true.
So I think I'm just wanting to continue that energy, but also bring more things in. Like I'm going back to school is the main thing. Yeah, I'm going back to school.
I'm so excited for you.
I'm like really excited, but in a way that makes me want to throw up.
I understand.
Like, it'll be cool to have a bachelor's degree, but then,
Yes.
like, what am I going to do after that?
I understand. Hold on. I have to turn the heat off or I'm going to light on fire. Oh my God. No. No heater. No. Don't be giving me a heat bomb. Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I always got nervous the first day of every semester.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't matter. Like, every single semester, all the way through my senior year, I would get a stomachache on the first day of school. Every single time. Even when I was a senior. Like, I've taken how many credits by now? And I would get nervous every time.
Yeah.
So, I feel
yeah. And I've like taken a break from school for a couple of years now, and going back, like starting so close to the finish line.
Yeah.
I need 120 credits to graduate. I have 112.
Dude, you're so close. I'm so close.
I just it's fine. It's great.
I feel that.
Yeah. So that's like my life plan for 2024. Reading wise, the Bible and unhinged girly pops.
That's going to be so fun for you. That's such an interesting dichotomy, too.
Mm-hmm.
Love that for you.
I need to find a Bible.
Just go to Goodwill.
Honestly, there's probably like 3 in that free little library.
There probably is. Or like the Hope Center or something.
Mm-hmm. I didn't take a Bible with me to college, and I told my mom that, and she's like, and she sent me 2.
That's hilarious.
I know.
You should just ask her. She probably has some. No, maybe not.
I don't know where she is right about that right now.
That is fair.
Mm-hmm.
I still have no idea what 2024 is going to look like.
Yeah, talk about this.
I'm so nervous still.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a lot of things that are hanging in the balance right now, and I don't know where that's going to be. But I am really excited about YouTube and like book club and doing more like live reading sprints and stuff. I want to do a readathon at some point this year.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
I started designing one like a few months ago, and then I put it on hold because I knew it was going to be crazy with Christmas, and I didn't want to do it till the new year. But there's things in the works, and I'm really super, super stoked about that stuff. But like the personal stuff, I have no idea. Like, what is happening? There's too many dominoes that could fall.
Yeah, you've got a lot going on.
So remains to be seen. It could be like a really, really cool time, but I think there's going to be like a lot of things that I'm going to have to make decisions about and whatever. So there's a lot of things up in the air, but I am going to be reading.
Yeah.
I think I need to prioritize that more because I also know like when I'm stressed, reading makes me feel a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I'm so busy like running around doing all the things that I don't read, even though I know that it makes me feel better. That kind of stuff when you're like, I'm so busy and I know the things that make me feel better, but I just don't prioritize them.
Yeah, because doom scrolling on Instagram is like so much more accessible.
Yeah. So I'm trying to like not open the Instagram app and open the Kindle Unlimited app instead, you know?
Love that for you.
That's the vibe.
I'm like thinking this is going to be the year where I delete Instagram. At the very least, the app off my phone. I can open it in a browser window.
Yeah.
Because for
I
me,
get that.
it's like the short videos.
Yeah.
I hate that feature so much.
Yeah, and I've noticed like lately, this is such a weird thing. It kind of ties in with like stuff of this book though. Like Instagram just wants to send me baby videos and marriage videos.
Ew.
And like sometimes I'm like, that's cute, or that feels like a helpful nugget of knowledge I might need someday. But sometimes it's like it's pushing it so hard. And it's weird. It's like the algorithm knows what age bracket I'm in and is like pushing that content like on purpose.
It has been,
which feels fucking weird to me.
that is weird.
So I don't know what to say about that, but that's a thing. And
Mine
sometimes I like it because babies are cute, but like it's a lot.
Yeah, mine is not pushing babies. Mine is pushing a lot of like weight loss.
Really?
I was like, don't body shame me right now, Instagram. Yeah.
That's super weird.
It's super weird. It's like diet and exercise routines.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Even just like that stuff where you're like, I didn't need that.
I didn't need it. Now I feel weird about myself.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, it's a little like, can we just hang out? Like,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah. Don't remind me I have a physical form.
I know. I feel like I wasn't getting that before, and now I am.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird vibe.
It is weird.
Probably partly me clicking on pictures of cute babies, but it's also just like, why am I getting so many of these?
It's a lot.
Like sometimes my explore page is only that.
Ew.
What is that? Like I have a book and it's on my Bookstagram account. It's not even my normal account. That's the funny part. It's like
It's reminding you of the repercussions of reading smut.
I don't know what it's trying to do, but like I'm only posting about like my YouTube videos and like book content and stuff, and I only follow book accounts.
Yeah.
But somehow my explore page is strictly baby marriage stuff.
Ew.
90% of the time.
I hate that.
And sometimes I get puppies, but like I have to dig for the puppies now. Like, what is that? Give me the puppies. Like it's a lot. And I don't love it.
Yeah.
So
Yikes.
it's weird. It's weird. Well, I'm getting hungry. I don't know how you're doing.
You read my mind.
I think that's the vibe. Well, it was so fun talking to you about this book. I'm so glad that we did this.
Me too.
I'm so happy. I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't want to like make Noelle uncomfortable because I know, you know.
I don't want to be perceived.
Yeah, but I was like, it's going to be so fun to read a book with you and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that we did it.
Me too. I had a great time doing this. I love having a channel and platform for my opinions.
Well, I love your opinions.
Oh my god, thank you. Yeah.
I love it. All right.
Cool.
Well,
go team.
Go team go. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.
Bye.
It's going to take